Hi everyone, Shannon here, professional counselor in Kentucky, and today we are going to do an Ask Us Anything series. We've got a licensed marriage and family therapist with us, and she is going to answer the question. So we have Amanda Villavesas with us. She's practicing with North Star Counseling Center here in Louisville. As a counselor, she uses strength-based approach and works collaboratively with her clients to ensure their success in life. She believes in meeting each client exactly where they're at and has an eclectic blend of techniques that she uses to meet their needs to the best of her ability. She has experience working with adults and children and couples for facing a variety of concerns, including but definitely not limited to depression, anxiety, OCD, grief and loss, infidelity, and many more. If you want to learn more about her, go to northstarcounselingcenter.com and you can learn more about her. But thanks, Amanda, for being with us today. Our question for you is, how do I set boundaries with my spouse, especially when we're both working together out of the same home?
I guess the question would be, how big is your house? And do you each have corners to hide in?
Mhm.
Um, I think this is a great question because if you have a lot of people have been working together from home for the past 7, 8 months. Some people maybe are just getting into it, maybe job changes, etc. And it's a tricky thing to navigate, especially if you have kids in the home or just trying to figure out how to like get chores done. And um, and so one thing I would definitely say is I would begin with like for the individual to start with themselves. So notice for themselves like what are your needs? How are you feeling? Like do a little bit of a self-assessment, a check-in as far as where are you day to day? How are you feeling? What are your stressors? That's going to give you a good indication of what your needs are. And
Mhm.
that gives you like a starting place, right? When you're talking to your partner. Um, and so I would say do that check in and then acknowledge too that like your needs might be different than their needs. Maybe they're totally cool with you coming in every now and then and just being like, oh my gosh, I just read this thing online, or or having someone like, hey, what do you want for lunch?
Mhm.
Other people are, kind of like in the zone working and might feel easily irritated by that.
Mhm.
So, having an understanding of how you operate and how they operate via that self check in, I think can be really helpful. And then once you have that, call somebody. No. Once you have that, then what I would recommend is then identify those needs and ask for those needs to be met clearly, like clearly communicate those needs, which I think a lot of people kind of like tiptoe around. They don't want to hurt people's feelings, right?
Yeah.
But it's not necessarily criticism if you're just saying, hey, when I'm working, I like to just kind of be in the zone. This is how I operate. So I'm going to just like, I need to have this chunk of time just to myself. And I will like leave the door open or if I'm okay for you to come in.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah.
And
And being able to, like, I guess, yeah, be curious and have those expectations out there, because most of us don't work with our partners and don't work from home with them. So we don't know what their like work expectations are compared to the
Mhm.
personal kind of private life relationship that we have with them. So they may be the
Exactly.
same, they may be very different.
Exactly. Yeah. And most of us don't work with our partners at all. And so having having that like let's just like kind of like lay it all out there. Let's be clear about what works for us. That gives them an opportunity to, or hopefully would give them an opportunity to say what's going to work for them. And
Mhm.
then you have to factor in other little things like, well, so how are we going to do grocery shopping, or who's going to help the kids if the kids are doing NTI right now, or picking up the kids, or any kind of extra things on our to-do list. I think I know some families have really run into the difficulty of having basically everybody on at the same time. And I think what can be most helpful for them is being able to, one, understand how everybody works. So does everybody work best at the kitchen table? Do you know, do the kids and you work okay that way? If so, great, do it. If not, like, can we find separate areas, even if that means like little, cubbies in certain places. Closets are really popular right now, right? So finding like how people work best, keeping in mind what are the family needs or the household needs, dividing those up and trying to divide and conquer. And some people might also mean, maybe that means like, I'm going to work like these hours and you're going to work those hours and we're going to do a split. In which case I would encourage people though to keep in mind, like, then you also have to keep in mind your own like well-being. So when we're talking boundaries, also talking boundaries, not just professional, but personal.
Mhm.
So maybe like, you need a few extra minutes when you sign off at the end of the day to just kind of like take a deep breath,
Yep.
you know? I know like for myself, when I'm done for the day, I will send my husband knows my schedule, but like I will then maybe send him a text and let him know like I'll be down in 15, 20 minutes. Like I'm gonna take a few minutes and just take some breaths and maybe watch something dumb on YouTube. I don't know. You know, give myself an opportunity to kind of zone out. And that means that, then he's like, okay, I've got like 15, 20 minutes with the kids. And that's just communication. And then we can swap if we need to, if he needs a break or but even adding in that piece of, really thinking about what are your needs? Do you need to go for a walk? Do you need to, step out for a moment or just like, I really need quiet for just like 2 minutes,
Yeah. Yeah, and knowing that like neither of maybe you and your partner have that like natural transition time of like the drive home from work or whatever it may be,
Mm-hmm.
you think your thoughts and do your thing and jam out to music. And so maybe giving yourself, yeah, 5, 10, 20 minutes to do that before. And then of course, if you're doing it, understanding that your partner may need to do that and maybe does it in a different way. And so yeah, that
Mm-hmm.
communication and expectation talk is really important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And lastly, I would say once you've kind of done all those things, you've checked in with yourself, you've figured out your needs, you've communicated those clear like boundaries and what you're hoping for, and you've had your partner do the same, is that you also make sure that you express appreciation for each other, because that's going to be that piece that really kind of boosts and keeps you going, right? Because it's going to be hard. Your partner or you might be like, oh, they're upstairs taking a break and I'm doing the dishes,
Mhm.
and so being able to say, hey, I really appreciate, thank you for giving me 15 minutes. I really needed it. And just that, that's the Gottman style piece of, couples therapy is like always express gratitude and appreciation for the things that your partner does that you really appreciate. And that kind of keeps you connected, keeps you, unified versus divided as if like, well, I'm doing the dishes and they're taking a break. This isn't fair,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Keeps the empathy there.
Yeah, for sure. And like it's not a rigid thing. It's a very flexible thing that ebbs and
Mm-mm.
flows with your work schedule, with the world's plan for us and whatever keeps coming down the pipeline and just being able to have it be flexible.
Mm-hmm.
That'll
Exactly. Yeah. So, and just, take care of yourself in the process.
yeah. Anything else you want to leave our audience with before signing off?
Oh goodness. No wise words of wisdom at the moment.
Yeah.
Rained at me.
Yeah.
Um, I guess my plug would just be, also if you're feeling like if on this topic, if you feel like you're struggling with it a little bit, I know that we have some good articles on Mental Health Lou for like how to communicate as couples. There's also, like I said, the Gottmans. So they have a great blog as well. Um, Esther Perel is the person who I was have taken a lot of this info from today. She's also a really great therapist, and all of those web pages I think can be helpful if you're still like struggling a little bit, maybe hesitant to actually clearly communicate, or so to take your time, do your research if you need to. But those are some good resources.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thank you, Amanda. If you guys want to get in contact with her, just go to North Star Counseling's site and you can get in contact with her there. And then if you guys have a question for us, just DM us and we will get it answered by a professional in the field. That's until next time.
Yay.
Bye.
Bye.